Darkness embraced the room as I lay in my bed, my body heavy with exhaustion. Sleep beckoned, and I succumbed to its call, letting my eyelids fall shut. But as my consciousness drifted into the realm of dreams, a heavy weight settled upon my chest, a suffocating pressure that held me in its grip. I tried to move, to break free from the invisible bonds that tethered me to my bed. Panic surged through my veins as I realized I couldn't. My limbs were paralyzed, and a sense of helplessness descended upon me like a shroud. My heart raced, the thud echoing in my ears. Then a presence materialized at the edge of my vision. A shadowy figure, an embodiment of darkness, stood by my bedside. Its form was amorphous, shifting and contorting as if it were composed of smoke and shadows. Dread gnawed at me, an instinctual terror that this entity was not of the waking world. A voice whispered in my mind, a sibilant hiss that slithered through my thoughts. "I've come for you," it hissed, its words chilling me to the bone. The weight on my chest intensified, making each breath a struggle. I could feel its malevolent gaze fixated on me, a predatory hunger radiating from its form. As terror clenched my throat, I tried to scream, to call for help, but my voice was silenced, trapped within my paralyzed body. I was trapped, ensnared in a liminal state between wakefulness and slumber, a captive audience for the horrors that unfolded. The entity drew closer, its form contorting in unnatural ways. A grotesque face emerged from the shadows, eyes devoid of light, a maw stretched impossibly wide in a macabre grin. It leaned in, its breath a frigid caress against my skin, and I felt a profound malevolence emanating from it. "I feed on your fear," it whispered, its voice a chilling symphony of dread. "Your despair sustains me, your helplessness nourishes me." Its words sent shivers down my spine, a realization that I was nothing more than prey, a vessel for its insatiable appetite. As the minutes stretched into eternity, I wrestled against the invisible chains that held me captive. My mind screamed for escape, for release from the nightmarish grip of this entity. But the more I struggled, the tighter its hold became, as if it delighted in my suffering. And then, a glimmer of light pierced the darkness. Dawn's gentle fingers painted the room with a soft glow, and the entity recoiled, its form retreating into the shadows. The weight on my chest lifted, and with a gasp I could move once more. The paralysis released its hold, and I was free. But the memory of that encounter remained etched in my mind, a haunting reminder of the terror I had endured. I searched for answers, delving into old tales and folklore, seeking an explanation for the malevolent entity that had invaded my dreams. It was then that I stumbled upon the term sleep paralysis demon. Days turned into nights, and I lived in constant fear of the entity's return. Sleep became a battleground, each slumber fraught with the anticipation of its reappearance. I tried everything, from rituals to warding symbols, to protect myself, to shield my mind from its predatory gaze. Yet despite my efforts, the entity returned. Night after night, it fed on my fear and reveled in my despair. It was a torment that became my reality, a cycle of dread that gripped me in its vice-like hold. I was trapped in a never-ending dance with the darkness, and then, one fateful night, it whispered its final promise. "I will always be with you, as long as you fear me," it hissed. The weight on my chest grew unbearable, crushing me with its intensity. I felt as if the entity was merging with me, becoming an indelible part of my psyche. I awoke the next morning with a chilling realization. The sleep paralysis demon had claimed me, forever bound to my terror. No matter where I turned, it was there, a constant presence lurking just beyond the edge of my perception. The entity had won, and I was condemned to a life of eternal dread, a tragic fate sealed by a malevolent force that thrived on my fear.